What is going on, everybody? We are live here Friday, January 26th, 2024. Just checking to make sure the stream is up and working, that things look good. I believe they do so far. If you guys can see me, hear me, can you just put a little thumbs up in the chat for those of you who are watching here live? That would be super helpful. Looks like things are going well for me here. But yeah, just confirmation on your end would be awesome as we get going into this. Don't want to be speaking here to just myself. Anyway, looks like things are good. We got half an hour here today. And again, the whole kind of message, thank you there. We got one hand in the chat. Perfect. Emmer, appreciate that. Thanks for being here. And just overall, if you're here live, thank you so much for spending the time today to be here with me. I hope you guys get a bunch of value out of this session here today. If you're watching and catching the replay, that's going to be circulated after this. I hope you get your question answered. And thank you again for people submitting those questions beforehand. Thank you for those of you who are going to ask questions here today. My goal is to, as always, just give you as much value as I can and take this time to answer questions as they flow in here. I'm hopeful that this will be a nice 30-minute session for you. And it's just crazy to think about kind of hosting one of these things with the channel and how it's taken off. And I just want to start by saying thank you very much to you for being here, for spending the time, spending the energy, honestly, at taking in the content that I've been producing and using it to hopefully grow your own educational base for things like TradingView and interactive brokers and just investing principles as a whole. My whole journey is just kind of on YouTube is to help you guys get the information that you need, because I was there as a beginner trader, like not having the answers is tough. And so I'm trying to just give back as much as I can on this platform and through YouTube. So if you're not here to kind of ask the questions, I don't have anything to kind of give you. So it's all about you guys and you just kind of driving the channel. So thank you very much for being here, appreciating you participating and kind of helping me grow this channel, this platform, and this message. It's crazy. We're going to get into some of the numbers real quickly before we get into kind of the Q&A. We're just going to give the numbers of the YouTube channel, where we're at, kind of my journey to this point, and then we'll get into the questions that have been asked. Some of them are in the chat right now. I see them coming in as well, which is awesome. So we'll get into that as well. But basically, the main thing is that we're here because of you. So thank you. I appreciate it. We are just over the 2,600 subscriber mark, which was cracked this morning. Pretty cool. And it's been a crazy journey so far. I don't know. Things got kicked off. Maybe I'll just give you guys a bit of a background. Like January of 2022 is when I started the YouTube channel. And this wasn't like with a targeted kind of focus or mindset or concept for it. It was just, I'm making videos. I'm getting to use the platform, just understanding how it all works and just kind of sharing what I knew at the time. And that kind of was this sporadic video here, video there for the first couple months. And I was also concurrently teaching some kind of options trading courses at the same time. So that's kind of how I got started, just trying to figure out the platform. I had a podcast before for a while on Spotify. It's still there. It's called the Buy Back Your Life Show. I had tried the blog thing. I had tried another YouTube channel before this, actually just didn't gain as much traction I would have liked. So I really kind of thought maybe I can kind of couple this with my knowledge of options trading to kind of deliver the message there. And then obviously it's produced and kind of grown into things like interactive brokers and TradingView and so on and so forth. But January of 2022 is when we got started. We are currently 2,600 subscribers, almost 18 months later from when I actually went like full on it, which was August 19th. Of 2022. I was at a wedding, funny enough, up in Northern Ontario, and I was recording videos in the conference room of a hotel, like my welcome video, my first couple like very basic, crappy, terrible videos, which I'm so thankful for doing because it's the starting kind of building blocks to get me to where I am right now. And from that point on, 18 months later, 3 videos a week roughly, we're at 2,600 subscribers, 300 videos. We've got playlists and documentation for interactive brokers, kind of how-to guides, a little bit for the mobile app, with more of the mobile app kind of focus coming up in 2024. It's one of my focuses is to kind of expand the knowledge around the actual mobile phone app, because a lot of the documentation on YouTube and online is all kind of geared towards Trader Workstation. So kind of bringing some of that into the play as well. just with the mobile app. But for me, like, why do I make the videos was something that was asked kind of in the question period, and why I just want to kind of share this is like, I believe at the core level, every person out there deserves the information to better and like make better choices about their financial lives. And you can get that from the media, you can get that from YouTube, you can get that books, podcasts, whatever it may be. But I want to share my information, what trials and tribulations that I've gone through. I'm not perfect. I've made a bunch of mistakes along the way. I've lost money, made money, but generally it's been a productive kind of endeavor. But I want to give back and share those experiences with people like you, just so that you can get the information, and then you have that information. You can then choose what you want to do with that, act on it, don't. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to provide the platform and give you access to what you deserve to have, in my opinion. I don't think that mainstream kind of the banking industry does it very well. I don't think the current like economic situation is set up for the average person to succeed. And you really have to kind of go out of the kind of normal bounds of what they're telling you, what is taught in like schools. Again, meeting with financial advisors, you have to really try to learn the game so you can win the game yourself. And I'm kind of here to help you kind of try to win the game when it comes to the stock investing world. So yeah, the other thing that kind of drives me too is that I was given a lot of information from some really great mentors, whether it be people that I've played basketball with through the years, coaches that I've paid for, just people that I've met at different investing network groups. And those experiences have been forwarded on into this YouTube channel as well, just funneling some information and experiences again to you to give you the information and the access to do what you want with. But I just feel like there's this need to kind of give back. And if more people did that, it would be a nicer, better, more sustainable environment in terms of the economy, in terms of the world that we would live in if just more people decide to do that. So that's maybe some inspiration there as well. And then ultimately, this is what I want to do full time. I want to be a YouTube kind of not personality, but just an educator and deliver content that's valuable as much as I can, and have this replace the working income at a certain point. I want to control my time better. I think YouTube's a great way to do that, but obviously there's a long way to go still. And it's about delivering value to yourselves and just kind of keep on putting out the content and listening to kind of the comments that come in and tweaking and just moving one step further down the road. So that's what drives me. That's why I make the videos that I do here on YouTube. And what drives me, I'm a pretty simple guy, honestly. I love my wife. I love my dogs. I love my family. I like going to the gym and working out in my spare time. I'm a bigger guy, so I like playing basketball, baseball. I watch a lot of sports on TV. I do a lot of fantasy sports, hockey, football, baseball, basketball, across the board, do a lot of that. Always looking at numbers and analytics. That's just the way my brain works, I guess. I'm after time freedom. Nothing is more valuable to me aside from the relationship with my wife than my time. It pains me to have to like think about working 40 years in a corporate environment and not having control, and then maybe being able to retire, enjoy my life. That just never really hit home for me. When I first like got my first pension statement when I was probably like 23 years old, I can remember looking at it and saying, I'm going to spend 4 decades of my life doing this and maybe have enough money at the end based on my pension, like how Canada's pension system works here, maybe have enough money to retire when I'm done and live comfortably. Maybe. It's not a guarantee. So I'm looking for the guarantee and looking to control my time through my investments, through my effort here on YouTube, and just some of the other things that I do in my life is focused on getting more of my time back and controlling more of my time. Okay. That's a big one for me. And then I basically want to control my time so I can choose what I want to do with it. I'm not going to be the guy who's going to go out and buy really flashy things or expensive things. Almost everything that I own is either secondhand or used. I pay for quality things like experiences with my wife. I pay for coaching services. I pay for group mentorship services. I do those kind of things. Those bring me the most value and kind of help me grow as a person the most. And I'm always trying to kind of level up myself in terms of health, wealth, relationships. Those are the 3 big ones for me. Tracking those, improving those day to day if I can, and just making concerted effort to grow and then give back as a human being. Because the more that I grow, the better that I can kind of provide services to yourself, and the more you can grow. So it's to kind of take it in for me first, give back in spades if I can. That's what kind of drives me as well as I go to do this. So One of the questions that was submitted, we'll go Q&A now. We're 10 minutes in. We've got 20 minutes to go. So we'll start with some Q&A here. And I see a couple of them in the queue here as well. We'll get to some of those in a second, but we'll get to some user submitted questions before this as well to make sure we get through those as well. So how did I get started in stock investing? Well, I was at a real estate investing conference back in 2019, oddly enough. And at this conference, I wanted to go because at the time I was working for a municipality or like a government style job, wasn't loving it, wanted more control of my time, like I said. And there was these two guys there who worked on like the Wall Street of Canada, which is like known as Bay Street, big financial guys, option traders for the past 20 years. And they were pitching a course about options trading and how to do it from your phone with a minimal time commitment that you could kind of take anywhere and kind of go and trade wherever you want to be, as long as you have Wi-Fi. So that really hit home with me. And I was like, damn, if I could do this and kind of replace my 9-to-5 income with this strategy, that would be sick. So I signed up for like, I don't know, it was like a $3,000 or $4,000 course, weekend course in Toronto, took some sequent courses after that with them, really kind of got my knowledge base started, along with a lot of books and podcasts and YouTube videos that kind of fill in the gaps that weren't there, because I find a lot of people are at such a high level, like they're like a level 10 and I'm coming in as like a level 0 or level 1, let's say, with knowledge base, that they don't process information the same that I would as level 1. Level 10s are like so far ahead, they miss things, they don't understand where the level 1s are struggling. So it's always kind of good to go and fill in those gaps for yourself or find multiple resources. But that's how I got into options trading and stock investing. I had done some real estate investing before that, and that's where the bulk of kind of my funding for the stock market came from, was my real estate portfolio. But I thought it was cool, and I've been able to trade in multiple continents across well, kind of the world, but just multiple places, and just using it more as a way to control my time and control my income while I'm on the move, which is super sweet. I love it. I love the aspect of that. I haven't gotten to my goals for that yet, which I'll share. I see that in the chat here on my trading goals and long-term goals. I'll share some more of that a little bit later on. But that's how I got into options trading and stock investing as a whole. So moving on to another question here. How do you decide, this is a good question, between buying a call option and selling a put option? So those are both really bullish strategies. And it really depends on the capital that you have to invest, number one, your time horizon as well. And I'll elaborate on these in a second. And if you want to actually own the stock or not. Okay, so with a call, like if you're going to buy calls, right? Number one, you have the potential for more upside versus selling a put. Your upside is basically uncapped when you're buying call options, right? If the stock keeps going up, you're going to be banking cash the whole way. But you do have the kind of downside risk of a higher percentage chance of an unrealized loss, meaning that if the stock doesn't move up like right away, or it depends on the time horizon again, but if you don't have the direction right, you're going to look at losing actual cash, which isn't the case when you sell put options potentially. Okay, so there's a bigger upside for sure with calls. There's less cash required. There's a higher potential risk of realizing a loss because you have to get the direction right. Like if you don't get the direction right with buying a call option and it stays neutral or doesn't move, theta decay is eating away at your call option value. So you're losing that kind of time value. If you have like a leap option that's like a year out, it's not a big deal at all. You can kind of afford to be patient and wait. But if you're going like 30, 60, 90 days expiration date, the call option is going to get eroded with theta if the stock doesn't move. If the stock stays flat or moves down, you're losing value, obviously, in the call option, which is like that unrealized kind of profit kind of creeping up and then turning into realized when you close it out. So you have to really think about how long do you want to be in the trade for when you're buying calls? You have to have like almost no doubt that the stock is going up, and it's such a hard thing to do. Nobody really knows where the stock's going to go. I don't know for sure. People make educated guesses, right, where the stock's going to go. But when you sell put options, your upside is capped by comparison to calls, to the premium you receive, right? You need more cash to do it because you have to hopefully do it responsibly and not have the use of margin when you're doing this. You want to have the cash in your account to get assigned those shares if you do get assigned. And then overall, there's more of a lesser risk in capital when you use a selling of a put, because you can hold the shares of stock, you can ride it out, you can sell cover calls on them to lower your cost basis as well. So in my opinion, it's a less risky scenario Even though there's more capital at risk, you can still always kind of cap your losses and sell the stock after you get assigned if you wanted to do that. But you can also wait and kind of hold the stock long term. If you're a long-term kind of bullish investor on the stock, I would sell put options. And if I get assigned the shares, hold them, let them appreciate and sell covered calls along the way. If I'm more of a speculative trader and I don't want to own shares in the company, I'd be more inclined to use the buying of call options, assuming that I'm really confident that the price is going to rise. So that's the distinction I would make. If you think it's going to be neutral or go down, for sure, sell put options instead to kind of capitalize on the theta decay and take that volatility as premium. But if you know and have a really good understanding of where your stock's going to go, and if it's going to go up, buy your call options and then use a little bit less capital to kind of get a bigger, juicier return in the short term. And obviously, if you sell put options and the stock does go up, you can always close them early and cycle your capital for a greater, quicker gain. Okay, hopefully that answers that one there. And then just to tie on about that one, there was a follow-up to that. How do you determine the stop loss when you are buying calls? So when I'm buying a call option, or when I'm doing any trade in general, aside from really when I'm doing selling of puts, I really won't use a stop loss because I want to get the shares in my account long term. So I don't really care if I get assigned. That's just the way that I trade. But when you're buying call options, and when you're doing any kind of option trade or risk trade or any trade in general, you should always have an idea of where you want your stop loss to be. It's proper risk management. You don't want to put everything you have into a singular trade. Good rule of thumb, absolutely no more than 5% of a loss for your total account for one trade. So if your account size was, let's make it super easy. If it was a $100 size account, you would not want to lose more than $5 in a single trade. If you extrapolate that out to $100,000, right, you want to lose no more than $5,000 in a single trade. But that's like the worst case scenario. I like to put mine around 1% to 2%. So if my account again is $100,000, let's say, I want my max loss on the trade to be about $1,000 to $2,000 max. And this is just to give you more ammunition and more chances to win. If you can keep your losses small, you then have more opportunities to make those winning trades that carry you forward and grow your account size. It's not an easy thing to do. Managing risk is really tough. It really messes with your head in terms of options trading and how calls and puts go. But if you can limit and have kind of sound principles behind it and like know that this is my tolerance, 2% max, 1% max, I'm not going to go above that. I just set my stop loss or my closeout method for the trade at that level, like a limit order or a stop order. And then if the call option does decline in value to that point, I'm stopped out. It doesn't even trigger me to kind of look at it. It'll stop me out and I have to be okay and accept that loss, which is a hard thing to do. It's so difficult to be like, okay, I got this one wrong. I have to accept that. And you see the realized loss in your account. It sucks. It always sucks. But the more kind of robotic you can make it by setting that stop loss and automating it, the easier it's going to be to manage your risk. And again, give you more chances for your account size. If it goes from 100 grand to 99 and then to 98 and then to 97, that's not a big deal. If you go down from 100 to 80 to 60, like that's a huge amount of capital you have to kind of then make up on the other end with those winning trades, which is also super hard to do, as we know. And as it said, the human instinct is to cut the winners short and let the losses run, when in fact we should be doing the opposite of that and let the winners go and cut the losses short. It's just hard to do. It's hard to come up with mentally to kind of do that. So 1% to 2% would be my target range. And again, it depends on your account size. Target it in that range to your account and then kind of build off from there for each one of your trades. Let's jump into the chat here. We'll go the first two there. How did you first get into trading? I think I kind of answered that just at that course. That was my first experience. And like after that beginner course, I dove into like some really good books. Getting Started with Options by Michael Tomset is a really good one. The book Get Rich with Options is a really good one as well by Lee Lowell. That's like the four main strategies. It's like buying calls, doing leaps, doing credit spreads, and selling put options. That's a really good resource. Lee's been doing, I took a couple trading courses with him as well. He's out in Hawaii and he trades like professionally for the last 20 years. Really sharp guy. I think he runs like a weekly email list too with different trades you can sign up for. But that's kind of how I got started. My long-term goals with trading, is to basically give me my kind of day-to-day kind of spending money, let's say. I think YouTube for me is going to be the big driver for like all my kind of cover all the big bills and grow this and kind of grow this this channel. To do that with YouTube Partner Program and courses and just different products and maybe some group like one-to-many coaching in the future, depending on the what people want to have and want to see. It's all driven again by yourself, but I want my trading to be able to kind of again be on my phone. If I want to go away for a weekend or go away for a month, let's say I can go down to Costa Rica, for example. My wife and I want to go down there, and I can trade while I'm there. I don't have to really actively work for income. I can make a couple put option trades, collect some premium, and still have some cash in my account, and then withdraw, live on, and just kind of have some expenses covered with my trading account. Eventually, I think my real estate portfolio is going to be the big driver of this and kind of help me kind of build up my stock account over the years, and to the point where I can kind of have YouTube, have stocks, have real estate, have crypto as well, and just kind of have all these different buckets. I'm a big believer of having a lot of buckets of income or legs of a table. If you have like let's say you have a 10-legged table, right? If you chop one of the legs off the table, it's probably not going to fall over. If you have a 2-legged table or a 3-legged table and one leg goes, table falls over. In this scenario, the table is like kind of your financial prosperity. You want that table to stand as long as you possibly can. And like one leg gets cut and it falls over, you need to have more legs under your table, which is why I do the crypto, the real estate, stocks, everything we've talked about so far on this call. So yeah, long term, I want to have this replace kind of my discretionary spending and just have it kind of automated. I can go from my phone anywhere that I want to with my option strategy, just selling puts really, and just kind of collect income on good stocks that I want to own long term. The other question here, I see, do you recommend using the IBKR desktop app for real-time trading? Because I find workstation confusing for a new IBKR user. Yeah, we've all been there. Whoever uses IBKR, the TWS, and isn't confused is a straight up liar. It is a lot of information to digest at the onset. I'd say it's really about your trading preferences. I've seen people who, based on how they want to trade, use the trader workstation. I've seen people use the mobile app. I've seen people use the online browser. It just depends on your setups, your strategy, how you want to execute. If you can do that and you understand how to do that from your phone on the app, use the app. If that fits better with your lifestyle and you understand it better, use that. Like use whatever you understand better. And if you see that it's not really working out for you lifestyle wise, or there's something kind of missing, then I'd say go back and kind of reassess, is there a better way to do this? And that may require some knowledge gaining on your part, but don't try to overcomplicate it because it's what everybody else does or people are using it. Like if Interactive Brokers just isn't making sense, maybe use something else. Maybe use Thinkorswim or use, I don't even know what they're, Wealthsimple or Robinhood or whatever they are. It doesn't have to be Interactive Brokers as well. I know it's got a lot of functionality, which is great, but just do what works for you and keep it super simple. The reason that I use Interactive Brokers, this is one of the questions that was asked as well, is because it was what was shown to me in my first course and what I kind of was shown how to download and walk through. And then I did a lot of research into it because I was shown how to do it on this platform. I thought, well, shit, I better spend some time really understanding how this whole thing works. And that has just been getting reps in and practicing for the greater part of almost 4 years now using it. So it's familiar to me, but just because you're coming into it kind of maybe first time, it won't be for you. Don't think you have to stay with it if it doesn't make sense. If there's a better option that you understand better out there, go do that and keep it simple. Okay. That's what I would say for that. Moving on down the list here. There's a really good question about, this was submitted beforehand here. It's, if I buy a call or a put, how can I set a selling target or a stop loss based on the stock price? For example, if I buy a Tesla call option with a premium of $2, okay, so we're looking long-term bullish on Tesla, spending $200, and the stock price is at $100. Just hopefully Tesla doesn't get there. It's been on a bit of a decline lately, especially with earnings that were shit. So hopefully we don't get to $100. But anyway, we buy a call option, stock price is 100. And how can I set a stop loss if the stock price drops to $80? So this is tying in the closing of your options trade to the movement of the stock price. Now, There are things called conditional orders with Interactive Brokers, and I am going through and kind of learning how these things work. You can set conditional orders like this, and this is a perfect example of what you could do. I just haven't worked out the details enough yet, so this is 100% going to be a future video. Interactive Brokers does have a link for how these kind of work and how to set them up, but I am working actively in the background based on this question to better understand how this works. So I don't have a definitive answer for you yet, aside from I believe it's possible with conditional orders. If you want to check out Interactive Brokers' own video for now, just as a kind of stopgap, let's say, I will throw that in the chat here. If I can copy this, Control C, and throw it in there. That's not working for me for some reason. Let's try that. Boom. I say give that a look and just see if that kind of starts to make sense. But I am actively looking for a way to kind of do this, set this up. I will go through an example in a paper trading account and set this up with Tesla and just see how it works and get back to you with an answer for that. I do believe it's possible. I'm just not quite there yet on how it works and the intricacies of how the conditional orders work. There's like, you can set it for like, apparently for the margin impacts for, but hopefully like kind of if it hits a support line on your chart, there's like so many different like if then statements you can have that will direct your kind of trading as you go through it. So give that first link in the chat a look there, start, and I will be back and circle back to that as we move through this and as I go through the trading year. Few minutes left here on the chat. I would love to know just for your own kind of area of expertise, or maybe where you want to get more information. Those of you who are here with me live, what kind of content do you want to see more of? I make videos kind of about different topics, different things. What do you need? What do you want to see? Is there Interactive Brokers, more stuff like centered on that? The last kind of videos that I've been putting out is more kind of general stock or finance, economic related. What do you want to see? If you could throw that in the chat right now, that would really help me out and kind of guide me on the type of content that you who are here now want to see, and that would help you the most. So throw those in the chat, and I'll go through this kind of last couple questions as we finish off here. What else do you invest in? So yeah, I am a big investor, not big, but I guess big to the average person in real estate here in Canada and in Ontario. I started investing in real estate back in 2013 with my first property back when I was just a young pup, like 22, 23 years old. Scrounged about $6,000 together to buy my first property. Went into it with a friend and a buddy, so had some rental income right away, which is awesome. Lived that up for a while. Sold it, went to a different place, rented out the basement, bought another one, rented that out after, bought another one. So we're kind of just building blocks, multi property portfolio right now with a couple rentals and Airbnb for a time as well, and just kind of letting that passive. It's semi-passive because you have to manage the property, or as we like to do, have a property manager manage things and you manage them, but passively kind of manage that asset base. And it's been really good to us here in Canada. Prices are really kind of inflated and extended, but real estate's been a big building block of my personal net worth with my wife. Aside from that, cryptocurrency, we mainly invest in Bitcoin long-term. I have done a little bit of kind of not day trading, but like swing trading with different cryptocurrencies based on different technical analysis that I've seen to some success, I'd say, mainly leading up to the kind of the bullish move that started or ended 2023. A big investor in myself. I pay for experiences, like I said, mentorships, coaching programs, anything to lower and kind of decrease the amount of time that I have to spend learning something, I think is a win. I want to gain and develop skills as fast as I can to then kind of make myself earn more cash. If I spend $2,000 at a course that allows me to gain $10,000 over the next year of my life, well, I can just repeat that $10,000 year after year after year for a $2,000 in initial investment. So that's where I see the value in that. I get the $10,000 extrapolated year over year compounded for the upfront of $2,000, assuming I don't forget or have memory loss of some kind of that skill. And then the other thing is just aggressively kind of having income coming in the door through my job. I went back to work on Halloween day of 2022, and I didn't want to go back to work, but with my wife's career in the crypto world, a little bit unstable at the time, we thought it would be the most financially prudent thing for me to do is go back, get a 9-to-5 job. And I went from earning $0 to earning about $80,000 just kind of in a couple of weeks, which was awesome. And it's so much. There's a lot of security in that, but there's also a lot of risk in that if I ever was to get fired or lose my job or the economy tanks and there's cuts, I now have zero income coming in again, which is why I'm here on YouTube building a platform. I do real estate, I do stocks, I do Bitcoin. Like, again, we've talked about the table analogy. That's why I kind of believe in investing in myself and building up my skills, make myself more attractive as I go through my career as well. And obviously, I'm a big advocate for asking for career kind of improvements and salary raises at work. If you're not going to ask, you're not going to get. If you're not willing to kind of go above and beyond and try to get those things, it's really not handed to you very often. So I'm a big proponent of just kind of investing the time and understanding what you need to do at your job to kind of almost guarantee or force your manager or your boss to give you that raise and increase your income again exponentially over years and years and years. So that kind of almost wraps up things here. We're just a little bit over time. If there are any last second questions, fire them in the chat. I'll be here for a couple more minutes here. I saw another kind of video topic pop in there, which I'm so thankful for there. Again, Emmer, IBKR techniques and more videos and options trading. I got you. That's great. We'll have more of those this year for sure. The interactive brokers videos tend to do quite well, which in terms of like people tend to watch them more. So I guess that's a big one for sure based on where the channel's been and where it's growing. We'll continue to do those. Like I said, more mobile videos as well. But anything else you guys want to have covered here, fire it in the chat right now or forever hold your peace. One-on-one coaching. I do provide one-on-one coaching for the right people, let's say. I don't do it for a lot of people because I find it's a lot of time on my part and it's very kind of specialized, but I have helped others in the past set up their accounts, go through and kind of just go through their strategy, understanding where they want to get to. And I will put a link to that in the chat right now. I usually do like a one-on-one session for about 60 minutes. And if you want to check that out, I will put that in the chat right now. You can go through and sign up. And if you have questions, feel free to email me, andrew@tradingoptionsdaily.com. That is the best way to reach me. And yeah, I'm open to one-on-one coaching for the right person. It just really depends on what you're looking for, because if I can't help you, it's not worth you spending the money. I don't need the money. I'm not there to kind of take your money at all costs. I want to give you the most value that I possibly can. If I can really help you, then I will. But again, it's just we have a kind of discussion one-on-one, what your goals are, what you're trying to achieve. If I can help you, we kind of move ahead. If I can't, then I'll refer you to kind of some other resources I think will better serve you. Sometimes they can be free. Sometimes there are other investors or traders that maybe you want to know something that I don't have expertise in. I'll forward you a different contact and I'll get you the information that you need. That's the main goal of why I kind of help people and why I'm here doing this session with you guys here today on Friday. Outside of that, I don't see anything else in the queue right now. So I hope you have an amazing weekend. I'm going to be watching some football with my wife and potentially playing a couple games with friends, getting to the gym a bit this weekend, and obviously hoping for some good luck in terms of where the stock market is headed next and some bounce back for some stocks that have been beaten down. We shall see what we shall see. But thank you so much for being here today. Again, thank you for helping me grow this channel. It's all about you. You are the real driver of this thing. It's the value that you provide, the input you provide helps me direct my efforts to give you the information that you need. So keep watching, keep investing in yourself, and I will catch you on the next video or on the next live stream. Thanks so much. See you later.